Foreclosure. Foreclosure. You can't even bring yourself to say the word out loud. It feels like everything is lost, and you don't know how you got here. Everything was going well. Then the economy went on the skids, the housing bubble started to burst, and then, suddenly, before you know it, your house wasn't worth what you paid for it. But it was okay. Things would rebound. You just needed to ride it out. But work wasn't going well. You weren't making your numbers. Now no one is buying. You start missing a few bills. Past due notices keep coming in. And the economy really gets bad. And things go from bad to worse. Everyone seems to be worried about their job. And never in a million years did you think your job was potentially on the line or that you could ever lose it. But here you are, walking out of your office with a box of personal items, jobless, dejected, unsure of what your future might hold. You start applying for work, keep going to interviews, but nothing sticks. And you start drinking to cope with the stress, anything to get a few minutes where this isn't on your mind, where you're not worried about how you're going to feed your family and what you're going to do next to make ends meet. There's daily arguments, and home becomes a war front. You can't sleep at night. You just stay awake and think about what you're doing, what you're going to do, how you're going to dig yourself out of this mess you've gotten into. How will you feed your family? You're 3 months behind on the mortgage now, and wondering, how much longer do you have? How much longer before the bank defaults you? What else can you do? You speak to the bank, you speak to the servicer, you run through options, but all you ever feel like is that you're getting the runaround. Like they're just putting you off. Nothing concrete ever comes of it. And even when you and your wife are out alone, having a nice dinner, it's just another argument and another night where you end up sleeping on the couch. The whole thing begins to take a toll on your health. You're back to work now, but the anxiety is crippling, and it's always there, on your mind, stealing your focus, keeping you anxious, like the sword of Damocles is there hanging overhead, and you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop. You just never know when the thing that you fear most is going to happen. You and your wife budget and review the budget over and over, but you can't make ends meet. There's nothing left to cut. There just isn't enough to go around. Your kids have expenses for sports and school that you have to pay, then a medical bill, then car repairs. It's always something. And then the day that you dreaded comes to pass, a foreclosure lawsuit. A man knocks on your door. He has a video necklace around his chest and papers that you have to sign. He informs you he's a process server and you're being served. Mail starts coming in from lawyers and realtors. You don't know what to make of any of it, and then you finally look at the lawsuit. But for all you know, it could be written in another language. It talks about mortgage assignments and default and acceleration of debt, the bank's right to foreclose, how the bank can take over the home. The bank has a right to possession, 35 days to answer, certificates of diligence and page after page of exhibits. You don't know how you're going to respond to this or what it even means. You start imagining courthouses and judges in black robes making rulings on a case, and can't get the image of a foreclosure sale on the courthouse steps out of your mind, an auction of your home to the highest bidder, with men standing around with bid signs. To be fair, you don't even know what a foreclosure auction looks like, but you have this picture in your head of an eviction being posted on your front lawn. Where will you go? What will you do to keep your family together? How will you put a roof over your family's head? It's easy to feel that all is lost at a time like this. It's easy to feel like there's no way out. But let's go back. Let's go way back to when you first dreamed of owning a home. and see what your home really is. We're going back now, back before all the troubles began, back to a different time, a happier time, when you only dreamed of becoming a homeowner, and you were working hard to save every penny so that that day would come sooner rather than later, before marriage, before kids, back when everything was out in front of you. You remember it like it was yesterday. You worked hard to become a homeowner. You searched excitedly for a new home. You and your wife looked at listings, toured properties with realtors, drove through neighborhoods that you might like to live in one day. Then you finally found the home of your dreams. You and your partner made plans for the future and excitedly made the big decision to take your slice of the American dream, to buy a home. You can remember the excitement of choosing your home like it was yesterday. You made an offer on the house of your dreams, and the news was exciting. Your offer was accepted. Your real estate agent called to tell you the house was yours. You called your husband or wife and your family and broke the good news to everyone. And before you know it, you were under contract. Everything after that was a blur. You filled out mortgage applications, checked mortgage rates, looked at different lenders, and then your mortgage broker found you a loan. Before you know it, you were at the closing table with your lawyer signing a stack of documents, and you barely understood what any of it really meant. It was explained perfunctorily by the title company personnel and your lawyer, but all that you really understood was you were moving into your new home. There were handshakes and smiles all around, and you and your wife even went out right after leaving the closing, before you even got home, and had a nice meal and a bottle of wine. You took the keys to your new home and you left on the drive to come home for the first time. It was a surreal experience, driving through the streets of your neighborhood, looking around at places that would soon become familiar, but which were new and exciting at the time. Everything felt electrifying and new and engaging as you thought about meeting your neighbors and about your kids attending parties with their friends next door, or playing Little League down the street at the nearby baseball field. Then you pulled up to your new house, taking it all in. You had a feeling of pride and accomplishment. Walking through the doors for the first time, you paused to reflect on the journey that had brought you here, and all the sacrifices and long hours and how it had all paid off. You had saved for years, sometimes cutting back and tightening your belts to make it work. There were ramen noodle Tuesdays, and there were times when you didn't go out for an entire weekend but just stayed in. There were times where people were going on vacation and you did a stay vacation instead. But finally, you were there and you owned your own home. And things moved quickly after that, unpacking and tidying up the place, making it your own, spending time in showrooms and hardware stores looking for furniture, scheduling deliveries and finding times when you could be home to take the new furniture and put it together, IKEA catalogs and how-to brochures of how to set up different furniture, making sure everything was just right. And now it was home. It was the place that you wanted to come home to, and everything was just right. Before you know it, your wedding day, dancing with your loved one, thinking of the life that you were building. And then, before you know it, some big news. And then you were 3. Birthdays, Christmas, Easter, gatherings with friends, your firstborn's first bike ride, their first day of school, the first Little League game. Your home is more than just an asset or an account on some ledger. It's more than just a piece of real estate. It's more than just an address. Your home is a storehouse of memories. Your home is the story of your life. Your home is the life that you're building with your family. Your home is everything, and that's why it's worth fighting for. So don't be discouraged. You're not the first person to ever go through a hard time. As long as your family's together and everyone's healthy, there's a way to get through this.